I've had a lot of comments, a lot of people asking me if I'd do a video on this, and I'm curious myself. I think we all really want to know what happened in this particular situation, and if you're not aware, let me catch you up to speed real quick. Basically, Melanie Martinez, a popular singer, was recently accused of sexually assaulting her best friend Timothy Heller, which is pictured in this video, the girl with the green hair. There's been a lot of back and forth speculation about, is Timothy lying? Is Melanie Martinez actually a rapist? And I'm not going to get into the specifics at all, so if you're looking for the full story, this isn't the video, unfortunately. I am just solely going to be watching this video and breaking down Timothy's body language as she's talking about this traumatic event. A huge disclaimer, just like in all of my other videos, keep in mind that body language will not 100% tell you if someone is being truthful or not, but it can be a big tell. And before we get into it, I also want to make this clear that this is Timothy's left side and this is Timothy's right side. I can tell by her tattoos, if you're wondering.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, like, as of right now, just say the whole data thing again. I've heard you say it a few times, but just so people can hear.
About the date?
Yeah, about the date.
Okay, so the only reason that I told Newsweek that it was on the 25th is because I remember posting that picture of me with the half black and half purple wig the day after. But it was 2 years ago, and I could very well be wrong. You know, maybe I posted it a couple days later, and I don't know, like, there's so many, like, possibilities, but, like, that's what I remembered. It's definitely around that time. And also, Melanie didn't say that it never happened, so...
That's what I've been saying. People are saying, oh, that picture's not from that exact day, so it didn't happen, but Melanie never said...
She would have said.
...it up. Like, you know, that's, like, I side with you on that.
So I believe that in this particular story, Timothy is using her Instagram posts as sort of a timeline to explain when these sexual assaults happened. Melanie was saying that this sexual encounter wasn't happening on the dates that Timothy specifically specified that they were happening. So the first thing I want to point out is how often Timothy touches her hair, how often she pushes it away from her neck, and also how long she holds her eyebrows in that uncomfortable upward position, which I would call the believe me look. If you haven't watched my last video, basically the believe me look is whenever your brain is trying so hard to create an image inside of it that your face physically cannot relax. Oftentimes this can be associated with deception based on the duration of the strain. And the reason why I mention her hair is because a lot of times the pushing back of the hair, the exposing of the clavicle, is mainly a mating tactic, or it's a form of saying, hey, look at me, aren't I attractive? Which is a subconscious thing. It's not something that she's actually trying to do, but it is a little bit suspicious whenever you put this in context of what she's talking about. It reads to me basically like she cares a lot about her appearance. She does that weird neck movement where she goes into, well, Melanie never said that this didn't happen, and then she sits up and she gets very forward with the interviewer. And you'll see in a second when the interviewer says that, like, she agrees with her, she gets this smile on her face. It's almost like a bitch. You better believe me. You better believe what's coming out of my mouth right now, or I'm gonna get real angry.
For sure. Not that I don't completely side with you, but I feel like it's just some people are bringing it both ways.
I think it's clear for everyone to see that this interviewer doesn't really know what she's doing. And unfortunately, I am going to have to skip around in this video because this is a almost 40-minute video. It's going to be hard to cover absolutely everything. But basically now they're talking about an Instagram photo that Timothy posted where her and Melanie were on a couch playing with sex toys.
Oh, okay, so that day we had gone to a thrift store and there was just this, like, silly, like, old, like, kit that was, like, a feather tickler and, like, handcuffs and, like, those dice that say, like, kiss, leg, and those things. And I was like, oh my god, that's so funny, like, let's get it, you know? But then we started playing it and I was, like, doing funny rolls on the dice, you know, like, lick, elbow, but then she, like, you know, wanted to do the whole thing and so on.
This kind of rubbed me the wrong way when I saw it, because she's kind of turning this into this big act, this big portrayal where she doesn't believe what she's saying, and that's why you see her eyes dart all over the place and the huge believe me look here. And it's just such a jovial way of going about something as serious as sexual assault. And whenever you read body language, you'll always need more than one tell to assume that someone is lying or not. And I understand in cases like this, everyone reacts differently. But whenever she's going back and she's talking about the situation that happened with her best friend, who she claims to love, who she claims to have feelings for, in some way, shape, or form, there's definitely no traces of any sort of emotion, good or bad, when she's talking about this situation that happened with Melanie.
But so why, like, were you friends afterwards? Like, why would you do the role play? That's what a lot of people...
Right. It wasn't really role play, but the reason
Not
that
role play, but yeah.
I understand people think that, though. Like, I don't know, there's so many ways that I've been saying this, but I just wanted to still be her friend afterward, and I was in denial. I stopped thinking about it. I think I honestly dissociated and just, like, kind of forgot that it happened. There would be, like, you know, weeks where I would forget that it even happened and then be like, whoa, that's so weird, like, that felt like a dream. So I don't know, I loved her and I didn't want to stop being her friend.
So I noticed right away that she instantly puts herself into defense mode whenever the interviewer asks why do the role play. She kind of gets offended by it. But then she lowers her head, she lowers her eyes, she basically submits to this girl to where she can't look this interviewer in the eye. She goes up for a moment and says that she remembers dissociating, but there's no visual signs of remembering. There's no auditory or visual images that come to her mind when she says that. And then she immediately tilts her head back down, says, I don't know, and then goes back into defense mode. So she's obviously finding this offensive that someone would ask her, why would you still be friends with Melanie? And I think, I could be wrong, but I think that she's trying to make herself look like a smaller being. Like, oh, I was so weak. Like, believe me, I was so weak.
People are saying, like, what's your opinion on everyone destroying her merch and unstanding her? What do you think about that?
Right. Well, I understand unstanding someone who you trusted and looked up to and then they did something terrible. But I don't really have a opinion on how they're going about doing so. Like, I'm not gonna say you're bad people for burning her merch, but I'm also not gonna get mad at people who aren't burning her merch. People just, I don't know, express themselves in different ways, I guess.
And this movement that she does with her lips after she says that, how she gets this kind of like weird disgusted look on her face, and then she sucks in her lips, kind of licks them, and then puckers them outwards. It's more so of a self-soothing thing to where she's stopping herself from saying how she really feels. So I really hate to say it, but like, I honestly think there's some deception going on here. I don't think she's telling the complete truth. And when this story first broke, don't get me wrong, I believed Timothy 100% all the way. I was so ready to jump on the Melanie Martinez hate train. But honestly, everything that this girl is doing and everything that she's saying seems to be because she wants to look good. Gotta keep up that appearance.
Let's see, what else do we have? Do you miss Mel? I didn't hear your response before because you were frozen.
Right. In a way, yeah. I mean, I still kind of have this, I mean, it was hard for me up till actually saying this story because I still have this feeling of love for her and I've had to struggle with that. But it doesn't make my experience any less real just because I have that feeling for her. So I miss the good times, but in general, she was not a very good friend to me.
And I think she's being genuine when she says this because she's accessing emotion whenever she's saying that she still has feelings for Melanie. So do I believe that maybe in her opinion, in her belief system, that Melanie wasn't an exactly good friend to her? Yeah. Where it gets kind of dodgy, though, is that she never once explicitly mentions that, like, oh no, she wasn't a good friend to me because she raped me. So I feel like this going into emotion and saying that she wasn't a good friend to her, and then that little head tilt that she does, the batting of the eyelashes, it's more so a petty thing. Like, oh no, she wasn't a good friend to me, but not in the way that everyone thinks she wasn't a good friend to me.
Okay. So I try to remind myself of that.
Yeah, I relate to that, especially with old friends. Nothing happened like to me what happened to you, but sometimes you only think of the positives and you forget the negative aspects of the friendship.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, when I talk about it to my friends now, they're like, dude, like, she was not nice to you. Don't even, like, think about it.
Did Mel ever try to do anything with you after that night, or was it over?
No, it was like it never happened.
She never tried to do it again?
Mm-mm.
Mel confirmed it, yeah. Mel did. In her response, everyone is saying her response was not the brightest idea of a response.
I agree.
So, whose house was it at? I remember someone asking me that. Was it at
Melanie's house?
You were staying there?
Yes, my boyfriend was out of town.
Oh, so she was dating someone when it happened?
Both of our boyfriends were out of town. Yes, we both had boyfriends.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a question just out of my own pure curiosity. Was she dating Miles at the time, or was it someone else?
She was dating Miles.
Oh, shit. God, I did not know that.
He said he wouldn't care. But I don't know if she ever told him, so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, who knows if this is the first time he's hearing about it. That's rough. So a lot of people are also saying that so you were both this wasn't while you were on tour, right? This was at a house? Like
right, it was her apartment.
Okay. How do you feel about people thinking that it was partially your fault it happened because you were high?
Oh my god, what a nice motherfucking segue, my dude.
Or because, like, you may not have said no. That's what some people are saying, not that I think that.
Right. I mean, I only smoked weed the second day, so there was an entire day of me saying no and being sober. The next day, it was so much. I was so overwhelmed with her asking me and bothering me that I was just like, fuck. And I think I kind of listed that I also kind of smoked weed because maybe it would make me, like, fall asleep and I'd be able to, like, avoid this happening at all, you know?
Yeah.
But
so instantly, you see her eyebrows go down, her hands go up, touches her face, pulls her face back. She's so fucking pissed off. It's basically like she's in disbelief that people would say that, and honestly, anyone would be, whether you're outside of the situation or inside of it. Regardless of whether it's the truth or not, you should never victim blame. And again, this is one of those moments where she's claiming to be remembering a certain point in time, but I don't see her actually visually scanning one side of her brain for that picture or those memories. It really is like she's trying to piece together, okay, how would I feel? What would be the next logical sequence in this story?
I said no up for a good while, you know? Mm-hmm. I think it just made it a little bit harder for me to, like, it just made me give up easier, maybe, but, I mean, I'd been bothered for 2 days.
Right. It was 2 days in a row that it happened?
Yeah.
Back to back?
Now, she's covering her face a lot. She keeps kind of pressing on her cheekbones, and that's something someone will do whenever they know that they're telling a complete lie. Their face gets really warm and they can kind of feel it pulsating, especially when you're in this type of hardcore situation where you're supposed to be telling straight up facts. Like, everyone wants to know what happened, were you really hounded? And she can tell, like, there are many different signs, but the touching of the face is a big one. She can physically feel herself lying, and it's coming through in her cheeks. You can kind of see some redness start to form. Big sign, guys. Big sign.
Why did you choose to do it now? Like, why December 5th? Is there, like, a reason? Like, was the date, like, or is it just kind of... No, I'm not trying to... I think you know what I saw that face. I think you mean because of your song coming out, but I don't mean that. But sometimes...
Right. Yeah, people definitely do. That morning I didn't even think I was gonna do it. I was with Mazzy and we had like gotten brunch and like I had posted it in this Facebook group I'm in, actually, that's like where women out their abusers, and I was like, do you guys think that I should like go forward with this? Like, I'm really scared. And everyone in there was like, yeah, we have your back, we support you. And I think I just felt really supported.
When the interviewer asks her, why did you choose that day specifically to out Melanie, her face seems very relaxed. She kind of tilts her head. She knew this question was coming. She has that doe-eyed look on her face. And the second she brings up, oh, is it because of your song? Of course, I don't think that, but is it because of your song? She squints her eyes. Her face goes straight into defense mode. She snaps that shit back into place. This is again where I feel like she's coming off as very aggressive. At first when she's doing the doe-eyed look, when her face is completely relaxed, it's like, I'm just a small little girl. Like, why would you think that of me? And then whenever the question actually fulfills itself and comes out fully, she goes straight into the aggressive, like, bitch, what did you just say about me? And you've got to think, one of the biggest suspicions about this entire story is the fact that this did break right before she was supposed to release like a single or an EP, forgive me if I'm wrong. So it's not an unusual or uncommon thing to think or ask. But in that split second when she immediately jumps into defense mode after hearing the question, which I'm sure she's heard a shit ton of times, it is truly a classic example of the lady doth protest too much, methinks.
Yeah. This is a lot. I know that I'm not the one it happens or anything, but just like everyone online is just mental.
I know, I wish there was something I could say to convince people, but I think that no matter how many times we have conversations like this, there's just going to be people that just choose to not believe me.
And with this, I think I'm going to end the video here. She ends with a big believe me look. Of course, it makes sense. I know situations like these can be really touchy-feely. It can almost be like walking on glass, especially when you're mentioning something as serious as rape. And I don't ever want to be that person to call a legitimate sexual assault survivor a liar. So again, it is very, very important that I stress this, especially in this video, that you guys take everything that I say with a grain of salt. This is just my first initial reading of her and how I view her story. In my opinion, what I think personally happened is that there were sexual relationships between Melanie and Timothy. That's where you get the whole confirmation bias between Melanie saying, oh, she never said no. I think on Melanie's side, it was poor wording because she said she never said no, and that can be taken in a very literal way because we all know that there are many ways to say no. But I think what Melanie truly meant is that she never said no in any of those ways, shapes, or forms. I do believe that Timothy had a boyfriend. I'm not so sure about the Melanie part. If anyone can fact check that, let me know in the comments. But what I honestly think happened, guys, no matter how fucked up it sounds, I think that Timothy cheated on her boyfriend and felt bad about it afterwards, and the only way she could clear her conscience is if she went on this rant about, oh, well, Melanie raped me. And then there's also that added suspicion of, did she drop this just because of her song? I think that's also a big part of it too. There's no doubt in my mind that she feels some sort of way about Melanie, and I think that there's a possibility that she had a huge crush on Melanie. And until Melanie does an actual interview on camera talking about this, there will be really no way that I can double check this story because it's all hearsay at this moment. I really hope you guys see where I'm coming from. I really don't mean to have any ill intent towards Timothy. I was on her side, but at the same time, I'm such a huge, firm believer in body language exposing someone's true feelings towards a subject. And in this interview, I don't know, it got me. I don't believe her. I'm sorry. And don't get me wrong, Melanie Martinez isn't a saint in this situation either. I feel like a lot of the anger that Timothy is expressing, a lot of the pettiness I get from this interview is because there's a lot of genuine frustration behind the fact that she truly believes that Melanie was not a good friend to her. You know, it's no secret to the public that Melanie has had her outbursts of not being the nicest person in the world to fans, friends, family, I'm sure. So there's a lot of different motives motives as to why Timothy could possibly make up this story, and I honestly wouldn't put it past anyone these days to make up something this serious. Not to be completely pessimistic, but, you know, that's just how life works. So like I said, this is where I'm going to end the video. I hope you guys have a good day.